Well, that didn't take long, and it's not really a mystery as to what did it. There's only one thing that can do this much damage to a tomato plant in this short a time. If you thought slugs were bad, this is about 10 times worse. I'm pretty sure all the damage in this garden is caused by this one single caterpillar. This is, as far as I can tell, a tobacco hornworm. And there are two caterpillar species, tomato hornworm and tobacco hornworm, that look basically the same except for a couple slight differences, and they both are a complete menace to tomatoes. They have quite the voracious appetite. Unfortunately, this caterpillar struck just as I was about to leave again, and not for very long. This entire thing basically happened in the course of 2 or 3 days. And luckily, it only really harmed one plant, but that harm was quite severe. This Cherokee Purple was doing really nice until the caterpillar got its hands on it. These caterpillars are basically one of the worst pests a tomato garden can have. Luckily, you can dispatch them pretty easily, considering it's typically only one caterpillar and they're not very good at hiding. But if you're away, like I was, and you're not checking on this, well, you're just going to have to live with the consequences of how much damage they can do in such a short amount of time. Now, unfortunately, I didn't actually see the caterpillar the first day. I looked really hard for him because I knew what kind of damage these guys could deal, but I did know that he was there because of this. When these caterpillars poop, they poop a lot, and they all look like little hand grenades. So, not that difficult to identify. And unfortunately, these little guys are very, very common. You'll typically only get one at a time, or at least that's my experience with the gardens that I've had, at least that size. But one can do a whole lot of damage. If you catch them, it's really easy to make it stop in an instant, unlike slugs, which can be a little difficult to round all them up. But if you can't manage to find them or actually get your hands on them, they can really wreak some havoc. And obviously the most annoying thing is not only do they attack the leaves, but they also attack the tomatoes. And in probably one of the most annoying ways. You could probably get all the nutrition you got from the leaves from that whole tomato, but they don't just eat the whole tomato. They bite the tomato a little bit and leave it to rot, and then they eat all the foliage to boot. Honestly, earlier in the year, I would have been so upset about this, but at this point, it's getting kind of funny. These poor Cherokee Purples just can't catch a break. Last year, it was the chipmunks, squirrels, and groundhogs. Earlier this year, it was the deer, and now a tomato caterpillar. Man, the animals just love these things. And I mean, yeah, they're great plants. They're quite delicious, but one day I want to be the animal that gets to eat these, not everything else. With that said, this is why I like to plant a lot of varieties of things. Some things end up sacrificial if something happens. This plant is probably not going to make any sizable tomatoes by the end of the year, although it is resprouting, so who knows, I'll try and, give it a chance. But at the very least, it protected the other plants, which are looking very nice with their yields. Although it's not 100%, as this guy can clearly eat more than one whole tomato plant. Speaking of which, sorry buddy, but you crossed a line a while ago. Now I have heard these things don't really bite. That's a lie. At least when they're this big, they certainly give it a try. They can't break skin, but it's not comfortable. And man, are they strong and muscular. Yeah, he's certainly giving it a try. The main thing they do is just poop all over you. Now, I will say I wouldn't really consider it right to take my anger out on this caterpillar. It's a piece of nature, and it is native to this environment, so it's just nature doing what nature does. That said, there are natural fish in this lake, and they do like to eat these, so, welcome to the circle of life. Well, that problem's sorted. Wish I got to it sooner, but oh well. There's still plenty to harvest, and I think I'm going to do that later today when the mosquitoes aren't as annoying. As for this tomato, it's completely garbage. I'm going to recycle it back into the environment, same as the caterpillar that caused it. In a bit, I'll get around to weeding the garden down here, but honestly, I've found that once the plants are really established and they sort of tower over these, it's not really that big of an issue to not really prioritize that too much. You still want to get rid of them, they're still stealing nutrients, but the harvest is honestly more important. Anyway, that's all for now. I do hope you learned something, enjoyed, and as always, I wish you the best. Till next time.